so much of what people do is psychologically analyze Putin.
Right.
So you tell us, what is he like as a man? You've met him many times.
Well, he's very tough. He's a very arrogant person to deal with, which I think is a combination of this vision of Russia and some fundamental insecurity. Because when you are dealing with him, he often acts as though he could care less. He's not interested. Even talking with him about getting Russia into the World Trade Organization, which is something the Obama administration was determined to do because we want to have a rules-based order insofar as possible, proved difficult to deal with him. He acts, bored and dismissive. So he has a lot of personas that he pulls out if he wants to stare intently at you with his very, bright blue eyes because he wants something from you or he wants to convey a message to you. He can turn on the charm, but he can also be, very tough to deal with and act as though it's a burden on him to be in conversations with other world leaders. I would be delighted if the United States could have a positive relationship with Russia, and I would be thrilled if the Russian people, who are so capable, had a normal country that they could chart a different future. I think that will be next to impossible, at least for the short term, with Putin.
You say in the book that you felt, and you've said in interviews subsequently, that the reset with Russia worked because you got a new strategic arms treaty out of it. You got the Russians to agree to sanctions on Iran. Why do you think then that it stopped working? What changed?
Well, I thought a lot about that because I was among the most skeptical of Putin during the time that I was there, in part because I thought he had never given up on his vision of bringing Mother Russia back to the forefront, not by looking at what Russia could do to be a modern nation, but by looking to the past, and especially trying to control their borders from Central Asia to the Baltics. So when he announced in the fall of 2011 that he would be changing positions with Medvedev, I knew that he would be more difficult to deal with. He had been always the power behind Medvedev, but he had given Medvedev a lot of independence to do exactly what you said and make the reset a success. I saw that firsthand with respect to the parliamentary elections in Russia, because they were filled with irregularities and Russian people poured out into the streets to protest. And I, as Secretary of State, said the Russians deserved better. They deserved elections that reflected their will. Putin attacked me personally because he is very worried about any kind of internal dissent. So he wanted to clamp down on any opposition within Russia, and he wanted to provide more influence and even intimidation on his borders. And I, certainly made my views known in meetings as well as in memos to the president. I think that what may have happened is that both the United States and Europe were really hoping for the best from Putin as a returned president. And I think we've been quickly, unfortunately, disabused of those hopes.